Okay, we are here at beautiful Round Lake on the dock, and today I will be showing you a model neuron and explaining to you the process of neurotransmission. And we will start at the top here, the dendrites. The dendrite is the top of the neuron, and it connects to the neuron neighboring to it, which I will talk more about what process happens at that point later down the line here. But so we have a message from the previous neuron here, and it's traveled along and it comes down to the soma, which is the cell body, also known as the cell body. And this is a model of action potential, and action potential involves different chemicals, namely potassium and sodium. And so we have potassium marked with a K, and it's negative K, and then we have sodium, which is a positive. And so negatives and positives like each other, but right now they are separated by a membrane, which is the yellow. And the membrane has little gates in it. In real life, you can't see the gates on my model, but they will open and let the sodium that's in the fluid on the outside of the cell flood in. And I have little sodium cells here flood in. Oops, not into the water though. Okay, and there's supposed to be like 5. So pretend it's flooded with sodium, and the sodium and the potassium react, creating the chemical reaction necessary to produce the energy to create an electrical impulse in the cell. So that's what happens in the soma. And so the electrical impulse depends a lot on what the message is from the previous neuron. So I'm going to stand up here, try not to fall into the lake. And so that electrical current goes through, this is called the axon, this long tail with the fluffy stuff on it. Now the fluffy stuff is the melanin sheath. You can think of the melanin sheath like the insulation on wires at home. It helps the electrical current flow through the cell more efficiently and get to the place that it's supposed to be. So that brings us down here to the terminal buttons, which are at the very end of the axon, right here. And really, it would kind of look like this. Here's the dendrite of the next neuron, and it's touching the axon of the neuron here. And here is a blown up sort of illustration of what it would look like if you could see what was happening really close in. So here we have the synaptic gap between the two cells, and this is a really, really teeny tiny in real life. And this is the area between the cells where the axon here, which stores the neurotransmitters, the green leaves, releases the neurotransmitters into this gap. And then here's a receptor site on the top of the dendrite of the next neuron. And these fit in like a puzzle, or in the case of neurotransmitters, like a red neurotransmitter can't fit in a blue, and a blue can't go into the red. But here we have a white and a green, and they can go in together. And so these neurotransmitters vary. They're different kinds, norepinephrine, dopamine, well, adrenaline's a hormone, so that doesn't count. did I say norepinephrine, serotonin, all sorts of stuff. Those are the kind of hot button ones, but there are many, many more. They go into these into the receptor site, and they either inhibit or engage electrical current shock through the dendrite here. So, and that's how the messages are communicated from one cell to another. Now, sometimes what happens is the axon at the receptor site, or in the synaptic gap, releases too much neurotransmitter. So as you can see, we would have a white one going in and activating the white one, a blue one into the blue one, a green and a white one, and a red one. So we have an extra white one and 2 extra blue ones. So a few things can happen to these extra neurotransmitters. Sometimes they just dissipate and get absorbed in the liquid surrounding the cell. But other times we have what is called a reuptake right here. That's what this tube represents, and this tube would go back up into. I don't know if it's really a tube. It's kind of like a receptor, kind of like these, but it's represented by a tube here. But the reuptake goes into back into the axon, and it will it's like a cellular vacuum cleaner, and it'll take these and basically suck them back up, and they can be released next time. There are different medications that will, some will be you may hear on antidepressant commercials, reuptake inhibitor, that phrase, and that is, it will block or inhibit the reuptake so that more of these neurotransmitters have a chance to get to the receptor site. And there are medications that do the opposite, that will cause, I'm not exactly as clear about the mechanism, but it will cause basically less neurotransmitters to be released, and so therefore it won't overload the receptor sites. And these can change human moods and behavior. With that, I am done with my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this assignment. It was a lot of fun, and I think that is all.